Hello, this is Ben Schaffer, and I'm trying to get this working, and hopefully it is working. Please let me know if you could just give me a... Hello, this is Ben Schaffer, and thank you very much for joining me. It's taken a bit of technical prowess to get this going, so I hope you're there, and I hope everything's good, and I hope everyone's happy, and let's hope that's the case. If you can just give me an indication that you're there and you can hear me, then that would be absolutely great. Okay, seeing a few people here. A few faces that I recognise as well, so that's very good. Okay, what we're going to do today is something very simple. We're just going to go through a bit of Bereishit, a bit of Genesis, and we're going to pay particular attention to Hagar, and also to Ishmael as well. So let's just start going. We're going to read in Genesis 16. There's a lot going on here, and I think it's a subject which is often ignored. So I think it's very interesting to actually start with this. What I do advise, I know it's a bit unclear on the screen, if you do maximize the player, you'll see it a lot clearer. So I would advise you to do that, and hopefully it'll be clearer for you. I've tried to get it as high integration as I can, but resolution as I can. That has been a bit difficult. Barring that, if you just go to Google and do a search for Genesis chapter 16, Machon Memre, then you should find what I have in front of me as well, and you can follow along with me. So let's just start reading. I'm going to read in the Hebrew and also translate it as we go along. Sarai eshet Abraham, and Sarai, the wife of Avram. Now, at this point, Sarah and Abraham are actually called Sarai and Avram. It's only later in Bereishit that they are given the hey, and it becomes Sarah and Abraham. So it's kind of interchangeable, and the likelihood is that sometimes I'll call them Sarai, sometimes I'll call them Sarah and Abraham and Avraham, but at least you know why. So Sarah was the wife of Abraham, and lo yalda lo, and she hadn't yet given him any children. So that did cause a bit of tension. But let's just read the Hebrew without too much commentary. Vela shifcha mitzrit ushma Hagar. And Sarah gave to him an Egyptian, and her name was Hagar. And it's pretty interesting here that it's actually Sarah who had a handmaid, it says, a slave who was an Egyptian. So very much in these houses at the time, it was the woman of the house who had control over the servants, and Abraham wouldn't have really got very involved. So let's go to the next pasuk. It's pasuk bet. V'tomeh Sarai el Avram hine na atzarni Adonai meledet ba na et shifchati ulai ebaneh mimena. So V'tomah Sarai el Avraham. So Sarah said to Abraham, Hine, here, na is kind of please, Atzarni Adonai miledet. La'atzor means to stop, Adonai is the name of God, and miledet is from giving birth. So God has stopped me from giving birth. Ba na el shivchati. Please come to my servant. And of course we're talking about Hagar at this point. Ulai ibaneh mimena. perhaps you can build through her. The ibaneh is like boneh, to build, is a building word. Binyan is a building. Vayishma Abraham l'kol Sarai, and Abraham listened to the voice of Sarah. So in this pasuk, Sarah is actually offering Hagar to Abraham, very much for the case of creating a child, because Sarah at this point is unable to bear children. V'tikach Sarai eshet Abraham, and Sarai, the wife of Abraham, took et Hagar hamitzrit shivchata. So Hagar, the Egyptian slave, miketz eser shanim, l'shevet Avram be'eretz Canaan. After Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to Abraham, her husband, to be his wife. So Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham to be his wife. Now it's pretty interesting, because there is debate on whether Hagar was kind of his wife or just his mistress, but it seems, according to the text here, that Hagar was actually his wife. Now we can see it's also saying Hagar the Egyptian, and it said that a few times. And the story goes that Hagar's father was actually a king of the Egyptians, or high up in the Egyptians, and he gave Hagar to Abraham and Sara because he felt that Hagar would be a better person as a servant to Sarah and Abraham than actually being a mistress of her own house. That's pretty interesting, and it's even said that it's, the Egyptian wanted Abraham to be in their good books, and that's why he did it. He held him in very high regard. V'yavo el Hagar v'taher, and Abraham came to Hagar, and she conceived. I think it's pretty obvious what it means by he went unto her, or came unto her. He made her pregnant. They had relations. V'tera'eh ki harta, and when she saw that she had conceived, v'tekal gvarata ba'eineha. So Geveret is Mrs. Enayim is eyes. So her mistress was hated in her eyes. So Sarah did not like Hagar at this point. Now it's all a bit strange, really, because if you think about it, it was actually Sarah who gave Hagar to Abraham, and now Hagar's really not happy about this, and I think we'll see that Sarah's not really happy about it either. Now, why isn't Hagar happy about it? She has become pregnant, and it would give her a lot of status to actually become pregnant by Abraham, who is the chief of the tribe. But yet, kind of, Sarah is still around, and it's even said that Sarah was giving her tasks to do which were below her station, let's say. I think one example given is that she made her bring all the equipment to have a bath for Sarah, and just kind of dirty jobs. Let's move on, and we'll see that Sarah's not very happy about it either. So we're on the 5th pasuk now, pasuk Hey. V'tomer Sarai el Avram, Chamasi alecha, anochi natati shivchati b'chekecha, v'tereh ki harta ve'ekel be'eneha, yishpot Adonai beini uveinecha. And Tomer Sarai el Abraham, and Sarah said to Abraham, Chamasi alecha, I did wrong to you. Anochi natati shivchata b'chekecha. I gave it's a bit of a strange way of phrasing here, but we're talking about giving birth and feeding a baby in particular. The translation that gives here is, I gave my handmaid into thy bosom. And And when she saw that she had conceived, I am despised in her eyes. Bishpot Hashem beini uveinecha. So Sarah is saying to Abraham, I did the wrong thing here. I gave my handmaid to you. She now hates me. Let God decide, what's going to go on here. And we assume at this point that Abraham did actually go and speak to Sarah. V'yomer Abraham el Sarai, Hine shivchatecha biyadecha asila hatov beinecha v'ta'aneh Sarai v'tivrach mipeneha. But in reply to Sarah, who said, do something about her, Abraham said to Sarah, you decide what to do with the maid. So we're talking about Hagar. Do what hatov be'einecha, do what you think is good in your eyes. V'ta'aneh Sarai, and Sarai answered by dealing with her in a bad way, and Hagar actually fled. So Sarah told Abraham to sleep with Hagar. They made a baby, and then Hagar doesn't like Sarah because she's kind of in her way, and Sarah doesn't like Hagar because she's kind of a bit jealous because Hagar has a baby, and she can see that how happy Abraham is to have a baby as well. That it was also very common in those days that a maidservant would actually have a baby and hand it over to the head of the household, and that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing probably one of the first cases of surrogate motherhood, where the husband has a baby with somebody else and then hands over the baby. The baby hasn't actually been handed over to Sarah at this point, and Sarah has sent away Hagar and also the son, which is Ishmael, but she hasn't actually given birth yet. So Hagar's somewhere, she's fled, she's in the middle of nowhere really. Vayimtza'a malach Adonai al ein hamayim bamidbar al ha'ayim b'derech shor. Vayimtza'a malach Adonai, and the malach is angel, Adonai is God. So the angel of God found her al ein hamayim bamidbar. By ayin is fountain or eye, hamayim the water, bamidbar in the desert or in the wilderness. Al ayin, so we've got the word ayin again, b'derech shor, and the fountain was on the way to on the way to shore, a place called Shore. Now what happened was that when she escaped, she only had a little bit of water, and she wasn't in a very good state, but somehow she was led by the angel to water fountains so that she could drink. Vayomer, and he said, so who's talking here? It's actually the angel. Hagar shivchat Sarai eimezeh vat v'ana telechi v'tomer mipnei Sarai givarati anochi berachat. So Vayomer, and he said, the angel said, Hagar, Sarah's handmaid, what are you doing? What's going on? Where are you going? And he said to her, like, what the hell are you doing here? You're in the middle of nowhere and you're Abraham's either concubine or wife. And she replied and says, I'm running away from my mistress Sarah because I hate her and she hates me as well, and she sent me away. Vayomer la malach Adonai shuvi el gvuratech v'hitani tachat yadeha. And the angel of God said to her, return, go back, make friends again, and do whatever Sarah says. And she actually did go back, but the angel of God also gave her a blessing. Vayomer la malach Adonai Harbe arbe et zarecha, v'lo yisaper merov. So he said, I will multiply your seed, and it will not be able to be counted because it's just going to be so great. And he carried on, Vayomer la malach Adonai, Henach hara v'yiladta ben v'kara shmo Yishmael kishma Adonai eleinecha. So the angel said, you are with a child, you're going to bear a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, because, and it uses the words from the Hebrew to make the name. It's funny that the angel would have to tell her that she was pregnant, because I assume by this point she knew. But anyway, and then the angel goes on to describe what her son is going to be like. We're talking about Ishmael here. V'hu yeh pera adam yado v'kol v'yad kolbo v'al pnei kol echav yishgon. So it's pretty harsh words, but especially when you say it in English. And he shall be a wild ass of a man, his hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the face of all brethren. And it's actually said that Ishmael was an excellent hunter. That was his real skill. He was probably the best hunter in the whole world. And one of the reasons is, it's said, there is a story that he had the jacket of Adam, which protected him against being killed by the animals and all arrows as well. Let's carry on. V'tikra Shem Adonai Hadava Eleha, and she called the name of God that spoke to her, Ata El Ra'i, you are a God to see. And as far as I know, this is the first time the word El has been used in the Torah. Ki amra hagam halom ra'iti acharei ra'i. And she said, I haven't even seen you, even though you've seen me. Al kinkra le'be'er be'er l'chai ra'i hine ven kadesh uven barad. And the well there was called Be'er L'chai Ra'i, and it's in between the places of Kadesh and Bared, and it's actually a very, very holy place for Muslim people, and it's somewhere that when they go on the Hajj to Mecca, that they actually go and visit and walk around as well. V'telek Hagar la'Avram ben, and Hagar gave birth to Abraham a son. Vayikra Abraham shalom bono asher yalda Hagar Ishmael. So Abraham is either guesses what the name should be, or Hagar told him that the name should be Ishmael, and he called the son Ishmael, the son of Hagar. V'Avram ben 80 shana v'shesh shanim bedelet Hagar beledet Hagar et Ishmael la'Avram. And Abraham was 80 years and 6 years, so 86, on the time when Hagar bore Ishmael la'Avraham. So Abraham was very old, and it's going to really change the dynamics between Abraham and Sara and Hagar when Ishmael becomes part of the family as well. Now, something I heard very interesting about why did Sarah let Abraham have Hagar at all, and that is that there was prophecy that that Abraham would have a son and would have a great nation coming after him. And by this time Sarah was actually very, very old, and she was menopausal, and she knew that she wasn't going to be able to have children, so she wanted to make sure that the prophecy did ensue. Okay, there's a second video to this one. We've got about 20 minutes so far, so I'm going to finish this here, and then I'll put the link to the second video in the comments or in the description. So please make sure that you do actually go there as well and watch the second video. So thank you very much for watching. Sorry for any strange technical things. If you want to find out more about me or videos like this, please do go to HebrewBibleVideoAday.com. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll get you in the second half when we'll look at the other place where Hagar is mentioned.